Hey guys, thank you so much for joining. I know this is a weird time of day to be on here. I just had something to do earlier today, so I didn't want to rush through it. So I was like, I'll just do it later today and we'll be able to take our time and I can answer everybody's questions because quite a few of you have sent me some questions. So before we get started and while I let other people join, I did have someone tell me that he'd be just a few minutes late, which is fine, but I hope you guys are here. I don't know what just happened. It kind of cut off. But hey, G-Man, I see everybody's. Hi, Smitty. Thank you guys for coming and joining. Give me one sec here. I'm reading someone's DM about a question. Guys, if my dog barks, I'm just going to immediately mute you because this is what they do, and it gets really loud through the mic. Okay, so I'm gonna. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute this just for a second and shut her up. Okay, sorry. Every time the wind blows, these dogs start barking. It is crazy. Anyway, so I'm going to handle this basically the same way we do spaces over on X because we used to do spaces every week, but I would have so many technical difficulties and things happening and it cutting off and people not able to play it back that I just decided to do it over here on YouTube. Everything flows a lot easier and I don't have any issues usually, except for my dogs. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'll be doing this, and I'm doing this for my subscribers over on X and Discord because I'm going to go over all of our current positions and plans with those positions. But of course, anyone can listen to this if you're interested. I'll also be going over a few other things. Like ways to exit a losing trade, how to roll and why to roll. We'll go into leveraged ETFs versus high IV stocks versus just regular stocks. And we'll go over a couple of other things as far as how of selling options and the best ways to make money with selling options. So we'll kind of go over that as well later on in this whole discussion. If you guys have any questions, please just leave it in the comments and I can answer it. So let's see. If any of you guys didn't see, I posted, hey Mark, I posted what's it called? A post over on X and on YouTube with a picture of my shirt, and I'm going to give away one shirt to someone that looks similar to my little trading shirt. And I would like to, of course, give it to one of my subscribers. So you guys just leave a comment and I will scroll through and pick someone. And I'll try to do this like once a month and we'll just, that'll be fun to give away a shirt or something fun just to give back a little bit and make it more exciting. Because another thing that I wanted to kind of go over is trading doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun. And so that's one thing that I really try to do is make it fun. So we have things like our Double My Account challenge and our summer vacation fund challenge and our basic trades and, just chatting about our trades and just trying to make it interesting and fun and not like so repetitive and boring because that's exactly what it can be sometimes, especially if you're trading by yourself. So I really thank you guys for subscribing and being like a part of my group because it just makes it more fun and interesting. Also a shout out to Grandpa Trades if he's listening to this because he is posting a lot of charts and technical analysis in each channel of the Discord. So I really appreciate that. I'm sure we all do because it does help. I feel like this market right now is more reactive to news than anything, but it's still good to have some technical analysis on each one, just so you know if it's a good entry or not, or if we should wait. Yeah. Another question that I want to answer real quick before we get started on the other stuff is someone asked me, what are we going to do if BBAI does not perform as planned? Well, number one, I think it will. I don't have a crystal ball, of course. There's a reason, though, that it's my heaviest position right now and that I'm not fearful of it, even though it did drop a bit, because it has heavy volume, heavy retail trading, and it's got a high IV. So for me, again, it's not a long-term hold. There are people that do buy it for long-term hold because they're comparing it to Palantir, which ran from, $6 a couple of years ago up to $200 last year. So, I mean, these stocks, they can do that. The fact that it's, AI related, they do have, government contracts and all this stuff. And the more they get and the harder they try, they're gonna boost up. But that's more for long-term talking. I'm not talking about long-term. I am strictly trading the stock right now. It is not in my long-term portfolio. So I'm gonna go over some options about BBAI later in this video. Like we're gonna go into it a little deeper and really discuss some ways to trade it if you're not already trading it, or if you are, just some things that we can do to number one, make it more exciting. It's literally sitting at $4. Sometimes it drops under $4, sometimes it runs up to $4.20. It will get that boost. But for now, it's just sitting there. So it is a little boring. But we went through this with TSLL last year. I remember specifically telling my group, if you guys were in it, you might remember me saying, this is boring. I understand. It sat in one range for like 3 or 4 months and it didn't do anything, but we were consistently collecting premium. And then it made its big run. Now with BBAI, it kind of went the opposite way. We were getting in between the 5 and 6 range. So now it's more, instead of selling puts, which, we still are, but now a lot of us are stuck with shares. And I say stuck, but I'm saying that with quotations because shares are how we make our money, not selling options. So I will get into that later in the video. So first, I just wanted to kind of go over all of our positions right now and the plans with the positions and in your guys' input on the plans with the positions. You can leave a comment here, or I'll check it at the end. I'll check Discord and X. So, I'll just go over them quickly, but if you guys have any questions, just stop me, just put it in there and I'll grab it. Mark said, would you think writing cash secured puts on a stock down 10% or more is staying behind the position? Well, you want to sell cash secured puts on a stock that's down, not up. So that, yes, you want it to be red. But it kind of depends on, is it down 10% over the year? Is it down 10% over the week? I mean, or in a day. I mean, some of these stocks drop 10% a day. So that's kind of dependent on that. And if you're okay owning the stock, what you plan on doing with the stock afterwards, is this strictly for trading, or is this strictly, do you want to end up owning it? It's down 10% a day. Do you mind me asking what stock it is? Because for me, if it's a stock, let's just say TSLL, my all-time favorite, I have a sweet spot for it between $10 and $12. So I'm happy owning it between $10 and $12. So right now, dropping to 14 is perfect for me. So I'm not looking at Delta. I'm not looking at how far it dropped today or yesterday or the week. I'm looking at $14. And knowing that I want to own it under 12, if I could get in closer to 10, I would love that. And my reason being that that's my sweet spot is because if it drops to 10 and I'm assigned shares, TSLL could drop to $6. I've been in it a few times when it's dropped to $6. And then it's also traded around $8. It kind of consolidated there for a while too. So I know that if I'm in at $10 and it drops to 6 or 8, I'm still in a position where I can easily average down and I can sell covered calls. Let's say you got stuck in it, a couple of months ago at 20. You're just stuck right now. Like there's not anything you can do. It's at 14. You can average down. You could potentially sell some very low premium covered calls, but you are kind of stuck. So You know, whatever stock it is, if you know where you're comfortable trading that stock or owning that stock, it really doesn't, you know, being 10% now would actually be a gift to you. So, okay, so now let's get into our positions real quick and then we'll get back into the other stuff. So I own 300 shares of AMDL. Here is something I put in the chat that I don't understand. Okay, I was assigned these shares and my cost basis should be 13, let me see, 1364, okay, for my 300 shares, because I had three $15 cash secured puts. I received $136 for each one. So my cost basis should be $13.64. On E-Trade, it says my cost basis is $11.65. I own no previous shares. This is cut and dry. So I do not understand why they are saying my average is $11.65. It doesn't matter because I keep spreadsheets for each one. So it doesn't really matter what it says on there, but I am just very curious if anyone happens to know why, because it makes no sense to me. I also own, let's see, I have two $12 cash secured puts expiring tomorrow. I got paid $110 on each of those. So I think they'll be all right. I'm closing in profits regardless, as long as we stay above $11 or $10.90, I guess. So those should be fine. I've got March 20th, $10 puts I'm up on, and then I've got March 20th. I sold some $14 calls against those shares. I've got March 27th, $10 calls, and then we've got our June expiration. So I guess a lot of you are probably in the summer, what did we call it? Summer vacay fund, where we are just selling cash secured puts all the way out into June. One, it's going to be safer in this choppy market, but two, then, you know, if it takes us all the way to June, we can cash out, we can average down along the way. And June sounds like a long way. I know it sounds like summertime. It's fall. Hi, Bruce. Hope you guys can hear me. Okay, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me? I hope so. Okay, can you give me a thumbs up, please? I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for joining, and I hope everyone can hear. Okay, good. It cut out for a second. Then, of course, I got a call because someone always has to call when I'm doing this. It never fails. Okay, so then, of course, we've got a lot of BBAI, which I'm not going to go over every single one of those. We'll be here till tomorrow morning. But I do have, at this time, I have got 7,652 shares. So I've got a lot of shares, and then I've got a lot of cash secured puts. So we'll go over all those later. I'm still in BMNR. I've only got 100 shares, but I've got a $40 cost basis. So that means I'm down 50%, which I know sounds like a lot, and a lot of people would have cut it by now, but I am still bullish. So I'm just not going to do anything with those. I'm just going to hold them, and I'm going to wait. BMNU has been our biggest butt kicker. So any of you that are still in it, I am also still in it, and I'm holding 472 shares. I've also got some cash secured puts that I sold a long time ago that haven't even expired yet. So I will not let those get assigned. I'll go ahead and push them out. So I'll just roll them or take a loss. I don't know. But of course, I'll let you guys know in the chat. If you are in BMNU and you do not believe Ethereum is going to make a move, my suggestion would be to go ahead and take a loss on those. If you need the capital back, or if you just think this thing is never going to perform, or you don't want to wait for it to perform, You can take a loss. You could also consider averaging down, because I know a lot of us got in. I mean, we were like at a $20 cost basis and it's at $2 now. So you could always buy some more at $2 and get that average down if you are a bull and if you think it's going to go up. I mean, it's not going to hurt you to buy one share, every couple of days at $2. And that would eventually get you averaged down quite a bit. So that is completely optional. I'm holding for now. I'm averaging down slowly, a little here and there, and I'm just going to let it go because I do believe it will come back. But again, I don't know how long it'll take. So if you're, if you don't want to be in it, get out of it. At the end of this, I'm going to discuss the best ways to take a loss on a losing stock, because there will always be a losing stock. There is no way on this earth that you're not at some point going to be in a losing position or a losing stock that will not recover. It's impossible, because it's impossible to see that Bitcoin was going to drop 40%. I mean, a year ago, no one would have thought that Bitcoin being at 120 was going to drop to, under 70. Like, no one would have ever thought that. Plus, we had Trump coming in and he's all into crypto and all of that. No one would have been able to predict this crypto sell-off. So there's that. There's EOSE that had earnings, last week or week before, dropped like over 50% after earnings. I've never in my trading existence seen anything drop 50% in a day over earnings that's not leveraged. Now, a leveraged ETF could do that easily, but a stock, no way. Absolutely not. I've never seen it. So please tell me if you have. I would love to hear about it, but a 50% drop, that's outrageous. Okay, one sec. Sorry, my dogs again. Okay, so yeah, I've never seen that, but I don't know what happens. Let me see. So BMNR, CSP 19, March, $47. I want to do it, and I want to pay full price. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to average down. Whether that's selling cash secured puts, whether that's selling covered calls like below your average, or just buying some shares. If you think it's going to come back, which I do, but I don't have a crystal ball, of course, then, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. And that also goes for Bull, BULL. Of course, as we know, it dropped after earnings. I do own some of that. It's not a huge position. So I am currently selling covered calls under my cost basis. So I don't normally recommend that, but because I have 1,600 shares and I want to get that cost basis down without adding shares and adding more money to the position, I'm selling very low delta covered calls. So it's not making me a ton of money, but hey, if I can make 20 here and 20 there on these covered calls, okay, perfect. Why wouldn't I, right? And I don't mind if I lose some of the shares. So take this into consideration. I own 1,600 shares. If I were to sell 8 contracts, let's say, and they're $5 each, okay? Why wouldn't I? I know it's only $5 and it sounds like, but if I'm selling 8 of them, then I'm going to make a little money that I can put towards the cost of my shares and start getting that cost basis down. A couple of months ago, maybe, I don't know, sometime in 2025, I started doing that with CleanSpark. So think about this just for a second. Let's say you have, 1,000 shares of something or any amount, it doesn't matter, more than 100. And there, let's say CleanSpark, I had 900 shares. I don't remember what my cost basis was. Let's just say $12. So what I did is I said, okay, I don't have 1,000 shares or 900 shares. Hey, I'm going to take 100 shares out of that, and I'm going to start trying to work that 100 shares down. So each time I would sell a covered call or cash secured put, I would take it from that 100 share balance. Now, of course, you have to have a spreadsheet for this. Your platform will not do this for you, but you can do that little bit at a time and get that one lot of 100 shares down in cost. You could get it down to 0 almost, and then you're out of it. So there's so many different ways to do this. It just takes time and learning and patience. But there are ways to get out of some of these stocks, underperformers, without just taking a huge loss. So that's kind of what I'm working on with Bull. So if any of you guys are in it and you want me to help you, I have the channel over in the Discord and we can discuss it there. And I can kind of tell you exactly what I'm doing. Of course, there's risk behind it, because if I'm selling some covered calls under my cost basis and it runs up, I'm kind of stuck. I'm either going to have to roll it or take the loss. At this point, I'm okay with taking maybe a small loss on Bull, because the IV is so low that it's not a super profitable stock to trade at this point. The IV was higher when we were trading it, and now it's not. So my crystal ball says it will come back in April. All right, we're gonna hold you to it. We're gonna come after you if it doesn't. And so EOSC, I'm doing the same thing. I am going to sell covered calls below my average slowly. Again, I don't have a huge position in EOSC. I do think it will come back. I think it was an overreaction. Obviously, it was an overreaction and some manipulation after the earnings. So, you know, we'll play them by ear. I don't want to put a bunch of money back in EOSC or BULL. So right now I'm just gonna kind of just try to sell some covered calls to get my cost basis down. If you guys don't have spreadsheets for individual stocks, you don't necessarily need them for like TSLL. I don't own any shares right now. I've just got a bunch of cash secured puts. I haven't rolled them out. I haven't been assigned shares. I don't have covered calls. It's strictly cash secured puts. So my platform is taking care of that for me. I don't need a separate spreadsheet for that at all, because all I have to do is open my platform and look at it, and it's clean and clear. But things like BBAI, I've rolled some contracts, I own shares, I've got covered calls, I've got cash secured puts that I haven't rolled. I'm all over BBAI in every direction. You have to have a spreadsheet to keep up with it, because your platform's not going to do it. And last week I made some money on covered calls, $65 on covered calls, no big deal. I did not consider that profit. I am taking that out of my cost basis of my shares to try to get the cost basis down as low as possible. So you do need a spreadsheet to do all of these things if you plan on doing them. Again, I've got AMDL, I've got 300 shares, and I've got whatever, 3 or 4 cash secured puts. I don't need a spreadsheet for that. Like, it's clean and clear. It's on my platform, and there's nothing confusing about it. You can look at it and there it is. So you just have to kind of play it by ear with your positions as to which ones need a spreadsheet, its own individual spreadsheet, and which ones don't. And a spreadsheet can be just a Google sheet. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I know some people that are just like into this whole spreadsheet thing. Well, I'm not. So you can just do a Google sheet. It's very easy. Or you can write it on a piece of paper. I mean, I have one of my subscribers is a lady that works full-time, and she just doesn't have a whole bunch of time to be worrying about spreadsheets and stuff. She's in BBAI. She's pretty heavy with me. And she's like, I don't know how to do spreadsheets and formulas and all this stuff. And I said, then don't. Write it on a piece of paper, right? BBAI, and put your share balance at the top. And then any cash secured puts that you've rolled, you write under it the loss you took and what you rolled it out to, and then the amount that you received. And that's it. And you write your covered calls at the bottom. Like, you could just write it on a sheet of paper if you don't want to be dealing with a spreadsheet. So there's multiple ways to trade and keep up with your trades. Okay, so let's get into the next one. Let's see here. The next one, and then I really can't wait to talk about TSLL here in a minute. As you guys know, I'm still in Clean Spark. I'm making money weekly on my covered call, so I'm just staying in it. I don't care. As long as I'm making money on it, it's fine. Okay, HIMS. Some of you are in HIMS, HIMS. Some of you are in HIMS, HIMZ. I own 200 shares of HIMZ. and I'm just holding them. I mean, wow, that move up was huge the other day, but it did not help me very much with my position because my average is too high. But again, only 200 shares. My cost basis, it says $4.32 on E-Trade, but I'll have to look at my spreadsheet because I don't trust E-Trade with their numbers. Actually, I think that might be right though. But anyway, so I am still down, but that's okay. You know, it's a cheap ETF, so I'll just hold it. Again, I mean, I've said this on every single one of my lives that HIMS, HIMS, the company, it will recover. It will. I mean, I'm not saying it might. I'm saying it will recover because it's a very, very good company. It's into regrowing hair, which I know people pay a lot of money for, and it's also in weight loss, which I know a lot of people pay a lot of money for. I mean, I've told you guys on the other ones that like these weight loss shots, people are paying $800, $1,200 a month, every month for these weight loss shots. And I have clients that don't even need them, and they are still paying that kind of money for them. So I know what people pay for looks and what people pay for weight loss and hair growth, and that company will do just fine. And they'll be getting into all kinds of other stuff too. So if you own shares, I would not financial advice, but I would highly recommend you keep holding those. Okay, you could average down as well. I would recommend doing that too, because if you're bullish on a stock and you own it and your average is too high, the best way to get your average down is to average down, buy more shares. I have a friend that I've been trading with. I met her in Discord like probably 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And we kind of trade similar, although she gambles a little more than I do. But she owned some stock. I don't even know what it was. It was something she saw on some scanner and she bought a bunch of it and she was down so much and she started averaging down heavily. And I'm like, girl, you're going to lose more money averaging down. And then it finally ran up and she was able to get out with good profits, but it took a minute, but the averaging down is what finally got her out of it. So it is important if you're bullish to make sure you're averaging down. Okay, so the next one is one of my favorites right now, ONDAS, ONDS. I do own puts, cash secured puts, expiring on the 20th, 27th, April 2nd, April 17th, and then our June 18th play. Just one of the June 18th. I will average down if given the opportunity. I am up on all of those. The March 20th, $9 put, I'm up 75%. So I'll probably go ahead and close it this week to get some buying power back. Also, they have earnings the 25th pre-market. That's when it's expected. I know sometimes that can change, but keep an eye on that because we don't want to get stuck like we did with Bull and EOSE. Both of those we got stuck in due to earnings. So if you do not plan on holding this stock long term, if you're not bullish on it, if it's just a trade, I would recommend if you're in profits to get out before earnings, because as we see, and it doesn't matter if they're the best company in the world and they make all this money and they're extremely profitable and they have a good outlook, the thing can still tank. I mean, that's what happened to NVIDIA. Who would have thought NVIDIA would drop after earnings? And it did. So you don't know with earnings what is going to happen. So I'm just warning you about it. And I am going to exit probably all of the position, if not most of it, before earnings. I don't own any shares. I just have the cash secured puts. So next is my other favorite, RCAT. And I guess it is expected on the 18th to report earnings. So either get out or be ready because, again, you don't know what could happen. I own 100 shares at an $8.50 cost basis, and it is at $16.16 at close. So pretty much double my money on just 100 shares of that. I have an $18 covered call expiring tomorrow. I'll make $54 if it stays below 18. If it goes above 18, I'll let the shares go, take profits. especially before earnings. And then I've got puts expiring on the 27th, April 2nd, April 17th. And they are all 63% and 75% up. So I do plan on closing those before earnings. I asked you guys in the chat. I did not post it. I just asked in the chat if anybody's interested in trading SOXL. So I sold one March 27th, $45 cash secured put and received $220 for it. I'm down $91 right now. But as long as it stays above $45, actually if it stays above $43, that trade will be just fine. And if it doesn't, then I will gladly accept the shares, because SOXL is wild. And when it runs, it runs. I mean, it could run back up to 70 in a heartbeat. And I would love to own 100 shares at 43 and it run back up to 70. And SOXL is 3x leverage, so it is risky, but it holds Broadcom, NVIDIA, AMD, like it holds the big dogs in it. So, it will run back up. I just don't know, how long. So if you don't want to be stuck with the shares, don't trade that at all. And then of course, TSLL. Okay. So here's what I want to say about TSLL. I am going back in as I'm closing out Ondas and RCAT and BBAI. As I'm closing out these, I am going back into TSLL at this price point where I could potentially get assigned shares under $12 again. I'm going in. I'm ready. So as of right now, I've got, let's see, what do I have? March 20th, March 27th, April 2nd, April 10th, April 17th, April 24th, May 1st, and June 18th expirations already in place. And most of them are between 4 and 6 contracts, except the June. June, just one. We'll add along the way if we get a good dip. And then quickly, I'll go over to our Double My Account Challenge. I don't know how many of you are in this with me and are following along, but I did 10K and I'm trying to double it in 2026. And of course, I post the trades, and if you guys are not in this, you can still take the trade. It doesn't matter. But these are just going to be a little safer and a little further out with expiration. So they're going to be a little more boring, but that's okay, because that's what this account is for. Just be boring and try to make money. So we've got some BBAI shares. We've got 4 cash secured puts. RCAT is doing well. We've got 2 different RCAT contracts that are up 75% and 30%. We've got TSLL that's right at break even, and then one that I entered today that's down $11. And then we rolled EOSE out to 327, 2 contracts. So they were rolled. We'll just wait and see what happens on 327. So if we need to roll them again, we'll just roll them again. So that was going to be something that I was going to talk about at the end of this. Some people actually never get assigned shares when they sell a cash secured put. They continue to roll and roll and roll, and they never get assigned. They just continue to collect premium. The plus side to that is you just continue to collect premium. So it is a way to make money. On the downside, though, is in your realized profits and losses, it will show as a loss, because when you close it at a loss, it's a realized gain. So you take a $100 loss closing out that contract, and it's realized, it's done. The contract is closed. So your platform considers that a loss, because it doesn't register the gain or the loss until the trade is closed. So that trade's closed, you've lost $100. So let's say you open a new one and you make $200. Okay, great. But until it's closed, that $200 is not going to register into your account. So, people continue rolling, and that's fine. On paper, you're making money. But on your platform, it's going to show a negative that you've lost money. So you just got to keep that in mind. In the long run, I guess it doesn't really matter. And plus, we're really early in the year. So, we have plenty of time if you're worrying about taxes or your end of year profit loss. We've got a lot of time for that. So, but I just wanted you to keep that in mind, that it will register in your account as a loss until the new one is closed and then you've collected your profits. So, for me, it's like, okay, I don't really care about the profit loss on there. It doesn't really matter. I don't really look at it until the end of the year anyway. But it's just something to think about because it might bother you. You might also look at your monthly profit loss or your weekly profit loss, and it is going to register as a loss because your new one has not closed out yet. So keep that in mind. Let's see, Bon, I've traded SOXL before. Quick and dirty. It is, man. One of the people in my group, 10X, he had never traded cash secured puts. And I'm like, hey, I'm going in on SOXL. And this is early on, just a while ago. And he said, okay, I'll try it. And I warned him. I said, listen, this is a wild ass stock, or ETF. It moves. And he's like, oh no, it's fine. Let's do it. So we got in. He only did one contract. He's got a smaller account. I did like 3 contracts, I believe. So we got assigned the shares at $30. And then last April hit, and it dropped to 6, I believe, or 7. I think it was $7. Of course, he's like, we're stuck forever. We are stuck forever. We're never coming out of this. And I said, no, you just wait. I'm telling you, just wait. And so as soon as it crept back up, we started selling covered calls. And of course, we lost our shares at around 30-ish. We made a little profit. But of course, then it runs to freaking 70. We're like, actually, it ran to 60 first, and it stayed at 60 for a while. So we were like, oh man, I mean, you can't if and but, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but it was hard. We were like, damn, we held it through all that. And then we took a minor profit off the table. That sucks. And then it ran to 60. So that would have been a huge profit. So that's what I'm saying this time. Like, I'm only in one cash secured put. If I get assigned and it's at $43, I do understand it can drop to 7. I mean, it could drop to 0. I mean, it can drop. But I also know that it can run up to 70, and I'm willing to wait. I'm not going to wait to 70, but if I could wait till, 50, 60, I'll do it. I'll wait. And so that is the next thing I wanted to talk about is I want to do a little math with you guys. So I know that a lot of us have commitment issues, and we don't want to be stuck in a stock because it's a bad feeling to feel like you're stuck and you're sitting here and you're not able to really make money on the stock, right? It sucks. I completely understand. I've been doing this for years, and I know. I was stuck in TSLL back in 2023 or 2024. I was stuck at a cost basis of 15, and it dropped to $6, and I was stuck for 7 months. And I mean, TSLL was getting hit hard. It was getting hit with everything. Everybody hated Elon. Everybody hated Tesla. There was an accident. There was a battery that exploded. There was this, there was that. And it just kept going down and down and down. And I was like, I don't care. I'm a Tesla bull. I'm just going to wait. And 7 months waiting, 7 months, couldn't sell covered calls. I couldn't do anything. Just had to sit there with these shares and hope and wait. And it ran straight up from that $6 range. It blew right past my 15 up to $41. TSLL has hit $41. So you have to be patient and wait, because the shares is where you're going to make the money. We can sell puts all day long and we can receive premium, and it's good money, and I'm not downing it. This is what that's what I like to do the most in trading, is selling puts. But owning shares and waiting on these tradable high volume stocks and ETFs is where you're going to make your money. So why was I okay with being assigned 7,600 shares of BBAI? Well, first, I was assigned shares in the $6 range. So at first, I'm like, okay, I want 5,000 shares, so I'm going to let them be assigned so that I can get my average down. So I was letting them be assigned so I could get that average down closer to 5. Then I get early assigned some shares and some more shares. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let them be assigned, because sometimes it's just easier to do that than to sit here and try to roll all these contracts, because I'm in so many different expiration dates and strikes that I'm like, I'm just going to let them all be assigned, not all, but a good portion, and get my average down. So now I'm in 77,652 shares at a $4.90 cost basis. So I want you to just think about one thing. If I'm patient enough, which I'm not saying I will be, but if I am, and I wait for this stock to run back up to $5.90, who knows how long it'll take, but let's just say I do it. $5.90. It was just at $6 not too long ago. $5.90. I will make $7,652 on that trade, because it's $1 above my cost basis and I have 7,600 shares. So just think about that. As soon as it gets back up there, I can make $7,600 on these shares, plus any premium that I have received selling covered calls along the way. Now, what I really have to focus on is not selling covered calls against my full position, especially the $5 covered calls. Because let's also say that I go ahead and I sell 76 contracts of the $5 covered call. April 2nd pays $10. I can sell 76 contracts and make $760 on my covered calls. But how will I feel when that thing runs up to $6 again and I could have made $7,000, not $700? So we have to be careful not to cap our profits. So that's that. I keep saying it to you guys, and I keep making videos about it, and I keep doing all of these things, but I also have to keep myself in check, because that's what I want to do. $760 sounds great to me right now. But how will I feel when I have to sell all my shares? And I'll make, basically $760, because that's pretty much my cost basis. Like, I won't feel good about that at all. So you guys have to remember that. So I am selling cover calls. I will sell when I can sell $6 cover calls. I will, because I would not mind offloading at $6 and make, almost $8,000 on my shares. I will gladly take that. But, selling the $5 strike right now is where you're going to receive the most premium. But it's also where you'll be stuck having to sell your shares. So just be careful and understand that, the patient people are the people that make the money in this market. It's not the people that are rushing around doing, selling here, selling there. And those are the ones they make money. But do you want to make money, or you want to make real money? That's the question. Would you be happy making $760 on these shares and knowing that you're going to make $760? Like, it's cut and dry. Right now, if I sold 76 contracts, April 2nd, $5 cash secured covered call, I could make $760. Tomorrow morning, I can do that. So should I do that, or wait and see if I can get this thing to move up to $590 and make $7,600? So you have to make these decisions, and sometimes they're hard. Neither one is wrong. Both of them, you're going to make money. You're going to make $760, or you're going to make almost $8,000. It's not wrong. It's just a matter of, are you going to have the patience, or are you going to just take the smaller amount of money? That's up to you. It doesn't. Neither way is wrong. But let's also say I've got these 7,600 shares at a $4.90 cost basis, and it runs up 50 cents above my strike. It runs to $5.40. I'll make $3,826 on my shares. So now that is more my speed. I wouldn't mind selling going in a little heavier with some $5.50 covered calls, knowing that I'll walk away with almost $4,000 on the trade once you add the premium in that I'll receive. Walking away with $4,000 on the trade, knowing that I can then take that money and sell more cash secured puts at a lower cost basis, maybe a $4.50 or $4 cost basis strike, that sounds appealing. But the 760, although it does sound appealing, I also weigh the losses, the potential losses if the stock makes its big move. And it will make its big move at some point. And I was joking around in the chat and saying how it's not going to make its big move until we've all given up and sold $5 covered calls. We're all going to go in and sell thousands and thousands of $5 covered calls. And that shit's going to run up to $6. I can tell you that's exactly what will happen. So yeah, keep that in mind. Also, I know people say, well, you can just roll. Covered calls are not worth rolling when they are so far gone. It's just not worth rolling. If you're down thousands of dollars, you'd have to roll out a year to make that up. And by then the stock's gone back down. These are volatile stocks. This isn't, yes, if you have sold a covered call against your Tesla long-term position and Tesla runs up and you're scared you're going to lose your shares, by all means, roll it out. Because that's your long-term position. You were not in it to let these shares go. You were just trying to collect some premium. So if that means you roll it out a year, roll it out a year. Do whatever it takes not to lose those shares. But that does not apply to our trading portfolio, because these stocks are so highly volatile that they'll run up. As soon as they do, they're going to drop back down, which is good. It gives us another entry, but you don't want to be stuck in it again. So it's not, a lot of times it's not worth rolling covered calls unless it's, just a little bit over, you might take $20 loss. But most of the time with these big movers like this, it's not worth rolling. It's just not worth it. Okay, let's see. I also wanted to make another point about how stocks can sit for a while. Last year, June to September, TSLL sat between $10 and $12. To me, it was perfect. It was a gift. I was repeatedly just selling cash secured puts. Every time it would drop back down to 10 or whatever, I would get assigned some shares and I would just let them be assigned, because I knew that eventually it's going to run up. So I didn't care. I just let it go. I ended up with 2,900 shares. And so 3 months, it was just blah, just sitting there. But with this high IV, which is implied volatility, it paid really good premium just to let it ride. And then September, it took off up to $23 from $12 to, actually, I think it hit 24. From $12 to, it doubled in a month. So that's what these volatile stocks and ETFs can do. Now, I'm not saying BBAI is going to double. I'm not saying that at all. It is not 2x leveraged, and it is not Tesla. So you're already dealing with Tesla that's volatile enough, and then you add 2x leveraged in there. So I'm not saying in any way that BBAI is going to run from $4 to $8 in a month like TSLL did. But I am saying it is going to make its move one day. And it has run up to $10. In 2025, I owned it at $6. It dropped to under $3, and then it ran to $8, and then it dropped back down to $4, and then it ran to $10. So you got to keep these numbers in mind. This thing is wild. Again, $6. It dropped under $3. Now, I don't think it'll drop under $3 again unless it just goes bankrupt or something. That was due to the tariff news in April. It ran straight from $3 to $8. So that is what we want. We want it to run now from $4 to at least $6. I would love to see $8 again, but I don't expect that like super quick. But I do think it can run to $6 again. So that's what we want. We want it to run from here to $6 again. And it will. It just needs a little catalyst, a little push, and it will. And then after that, it dropped to $4. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when it's time to get out, you take your profits and you get out. And then it'll drop back down to $4, you get back in, and then it'll run back up to, whatever. But it has run up to $10 before. So, keep that in mind. I don't even think it got any huge news to make it run to 10. It was just following the market, and it's going to follow the AI stocks as well. I've been trying to watch and see if it follows Palantir, since so many people kind of relate it to Palantir a little bit. I was just kind of trying to see if I see that. Also wanted to let you guys in my group know that any of you that are new, kind of the days that I trade, Mondays and Thursdays, I am completely off work. So those are the days that I typically will enter and exit more trades. I do exit a lot of trades on Thursdays just because it's the day before expiration. And if I'm up 80% or something, I go ahead and exit. And of course, I let everybody know when I'm exiting and my profits and all of that, or my losses, or when I roll, or whatever it is. As I think you guys know, I'm very transparent. If I take a loss, I take a loss. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not embarrassed about it. It is, I mean, as long as at the end of the year I've made money, that's how it works. Not every trade is going to be the perfect trade. It's just not possible. Although last year with TSLL was pretty perfect. um, but also right now I feel like I'm in too many positions. I'm trying to keep up with too many positions. So the fact that I'm going to exit ONDS and RCAT, at least the majority of my position before earnings. Number one, I feel good about it because I'm going to take profits. And two, it's going to leave me with a little less to keep up with at the moment. And I will put that money in TSLL as long as we're staying in this range. And then after earnings, I will go back to those when they're in the sweet spot again. So I'm not taking them off my list. I just have too many names right now. I just don't need all these names. And I can't wait to get out of any of the crypto names. The CleanSpark, Mara, BMNU, BMNR, BITX, MSTU. God, too many. So yeah, so some of you kind of say, I see y'all in the chat saying we should maybe get into CONL and all these others, but I'm like, I can't do any more crypto right now just because I'm in it too much. I want to get out of some of these positions first. Okay, so I think that's it. I was going to talk a little bit about IV and what that means. It means implied volatility. So you guys that don't know what that means, if you're looking at a stock, you can see the IV on there. And when it is high, that means it's going to be a volatile stock. So be ready, be prepared. If it's over 100%, that thing is being heavily traded both ways, and it can plummet and it can run, and it can do both, and it can do it the same in a week. I mean, these things move. If you don't want the high IV, you just want a slow, consistent income, you can sell cash secured puts on either the Mag 7. You'll always be on a red day. You'll always be more comfortable in a stock that, like Google, Apple, Amazon, all of these kind of stocks. You could also consider SoFi. SoFi has been beaten down recently. I've been buying shares in my long-term portfolio and in my daughter's portfolio for long-term. So if you did happen to get assigned shares of SoFi, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So you could look at some of these stocks like that and just, trade them lightly. If you have any other ideas, please put them in the chat or tell me so I can tell people, because I'm more on the aggressive side. I don't feel like I'm like wild because I'm not like this day trader or anything like that, but I am going to be a little bit more on the aggressive side with the cash secured puts because this isn't my income. I'm young enough to where if I take losses, it's not like I'm retiring next year or anything like that. Things like that. I'm not in a dire position. Like my mortgage is paid off, my car is paid off. I live within my means, and I trade with my money. So, just keep those things in mind as well. That I'm going to be a little bit more on the aggressive side. So be ready if you take my trades. Okay, and then that's it. So back to my schedule. Mondays and Thursdays I'm off work, so I trade more. Friday mornings I trade, I close and roll contracts. I always am off. I take a break at work from 3 to 4:15 every Friday afternoon in case I need to roll contracts, or if any of you guys need help right before close on Friday. I am always available unless I'm on a vacation. So don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm here almost every morning. I usually don't go into work until 11 or 12. So I try to be here for market open and see if there's anything we can get into. I'm also trying to learn spreads. So I've been kind of easing into that a little bit. And I would love to learn from you guys if you have any spread ideas. I did one last week on Tesla and it went well. I made $20. I mean, it wasn't a big trade, but I'm easing in, one little contract at a time. And I guess that's about it. Do any of you guys have any questions? Midwest Cannabis. been there, done that, and I wasn't patient enough. We're all guilty of not being patient enough. I mean, it's annoying. You know, it's even annoying right now while I'm holding these BBAI shares at 490. We keep running up to 420 and then it just drops right back down. And yes, I'm annoyed. And I know that this could be a long process and I might be in these shares for a while. But it is what it is. I know what's going to happen when it does happen. So it is. It's annoying. And then I'm also afraid of myself. Like when we get up to $5, am I going to be like, sell before it drops? I mean, the human emotions behind trading, it's rough sometimes. So you do have to keep those in check. All right, I'm going to check to see if I have any questions here. Let's see. Let me get over to Discord. Let's see. No, nothing big. Just you know, people kind of wondering what we're going to do with the EOSE and bull, but I think I went over that a little bit, and I don't mind going into more detail with it, with some examples if I need to over in the chat so that we can figure out what we're going to do with these underperformers. Again, I am bullish on both. I do think bull will recover. I do think EOSE will recover along with all the others that we're in, but I don't know how long, and I don't know how, if they're worth holding is the thing. Especially bull, BULL, because the IV dropped and it's just not as heavily traded. So I don't know if it's just going to kind of sit in this one range where, I guess if it does, we could make money on covered calls. I mean, if I could make $10 or $20 a week on covered calls while holding these shares, I don't mind doing that. I mean, I can make $80 a month just holding shares. I'll do that, no problem. But I just want to know at some point if it'll go up, but I just don't know with that one, just because the volume dropped. But EOSE, volume is still there. I mean, it's gonna do its thing. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but that's another one that's just gonna be one of those wild ones. But in this market, guys, the only thing I can tell you is when you see profits, take them. Just don't overstay your welcome. When you're selling a cash secured put and you're up 80%, you get out and you can sell another one. That's fine. Like ONDS, March 20th, I'm up 75%. I'm up $150, 75%. I'm closing this sucker. I'm not going to wait and see if it drops back down to 9. It's not, no, I'm not getting stuck. So closing it, I can sell new ones. I can go out to a couple of weeks and sell another one if I want to. I'm not because of earnings, but I'm going to take that $150 profit off the table and then use it towards some new trades. So you can't look at it like, okay, I'm up 75%, 150, but if I close it right now, I'm going to be giving back $50, $25 per contract. No, you can't look at that because that $25 per contract is not worth losing $150 over. You know what I mean? So don't overstay. You're welcome in these trades. Take your profits, move on to the next. So that's about it. That's all I got for you today. Thank you guys for listening and joining and subscribing. If any of you are listening that aren't subscribers already, you can DM me on X or here. In the comments here, and I can give you information that you need. So that's it. And I appreciate you guys being here, and I will be around in the chat tonight and tomorrow and whenever you need me. Okay, talk to you soon.